Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor to moderate such a distinguished panel and such an important topic that is close to my heart. We're still waiting for another speaker, His Excellency, Minister of Education from Costa Rica. I hope he'll arrive soon. But meanwhile, I think we'll save all our time and begin with our discussions and considerations. So thank you for joining, all of you who are present in the room and also following the conference online. It's truly important and truly global. So we often talk about education as the great equalizer, which is indeed true, but I think that in a world marked by inequality, digital disruption, and declining attention spans, that's what I also see in my kids, education is not catching up fast enough. And global institutions like UNESCO, OECD, the World Bank, they now more and more emphasize future readiness, resilience, and lifelong learning. And this is natural because everyone understands how dynamic and changing the labor market is. Those professions that are topical today, they cannot be existing probably in 10 or 15 years' time. So the smartest thing to give to your kid, it's not a profession, it's skills. But I believe also that all these would be abstract goals unless we add at the operational level a very practical tool and tools that are simple, that are scalable, and that are strategic. And I really think that chess, our game, really ticks all the boxes here because it's structured, inclusive, it's low cost, and adaptable to almost any learning environment. And here I also would like to make a parallel with chess. Everyone has heard about Queen's Gambit, right? But it's not only the Netflix movie, it's actually a very important chess opening in chess, offering something, where the player is offering something up front, in this case a pawn, in hopes of gaining dynamics and control of the board of the game. In education today, we are being asked to make similar gambits. We must let go of outdated models and invest early in unconventional tools like chess to reshape how our children think, solve problems, and grow. But the board is very complex here as well. Again, chess connections. Students are overwhelmed, teachers are under-resourced, and the institutions are sometimes locked in yesterday's paradigms. So that's the task of today's leadership panel, to see what can we, as policymakers, educators, financial leaders, philanthropists, and institutional partners do to embed chess in our national curricula, fund and scale programs sustainably, and how we build partnerships that go beyond symbolism and create real impact. So that's from my side as an introduction, but now we would jump to our distinguished speakers. Minister, take your seat here. Thank you for joining. So we'll give you some time to get ready, and we'll start with Mr. Timur Turlov, a visionary from the corporate world, as you heard already, who sees education not as a charity, but as a strategic infrastructure. Timur Turlov has supported chess as a platform for innovation, empowerment, and regional cooperation across Central Asia, and now already far beyond. Timur, Freedom Holding has become a major partner in initiatives like the World Schools Team Chess Championship. You personally have initiated the establishment of the International School Sports Federation, and also this very Smart Moves Summit itself. From a corporate leadership perspective, what makes chess education a compelling long-term investment for you, and how can companies help its future globally? And if you would give also some perspective as an investor, as a business person who normally think of the return of investment, how do you evaluate the success of your investment in such initiatives like educational chess?
Yeah, thank you very much. And I will try to tell that actually when we do normal business, our payback is a product of our efficiency. So if we finally create more values that we consume, we have some profit. If we actually consumed more values that we created, we have some loss at the end of the day. And it's critical importance to estimate and evaluate our efforts and make sure that we can invest, not just spend some resources. And we do believe that all these investments to education, this could be very long-term investments, but usually the most long-term investments can create a very huge advantages and very great payback on the long term if you will manage that back. So, and I will try to tell that in my presentation. So good morning again, everyone. So actually today we live in a world where the fast beats the slow, where reaction often matters more than understanding. We generate rapid content, fight for attention of young audience, create and follow trends. And the world around us accelerates more and more every time. That's exactly why strategic thinking has become so rare and so valuable, because fast does not always mean good. And that's why the theme of my speech is mastering the long game. Chess is about what happens between the moves. It's about thinking, patience, responsibility. It's about think before to move, as one famous person told. It's a structure of thought and universal language of strategy. And chess itself is has its very universal language. It's actually not so much intellectual games which such easy to compete all over the world. Because even if our participants cannot speak different languages, they still can compete completely fairly with anyone else in the world who also can play chess. Chess is, I think, the most universal language in the world. When children play chess, they don't just learn to make move. They learn to see consequences, build cause and effect connections, and weight risks. And of course, they have to learn how to win and how to lose. And it's, I think, one of the most important stuff that any person can learn in the world, because especially when we want to do something big, you always have to be ready to lose and still to continue to move. Now, we believe if we want to build a society capable of dialogue, innovations, and leadership, we have to start with how we teach people to think. We often talk about rising the leaders of the future, but what do we actually mean by that? To us, a leader of the future is someone who can not only make decisions, but see the system. That's exactly what chess teaches. Strategy, self-control, attention management, the ability to think as a part of a team. These are skills no modern leader can do without. And if we want these questions to develop internationally, we must integrate chess into the education system. As a core subject, chess becomes a foundation for building strategic leadership thinking. Chess is an educational ecosystem. It's a tool that builds resilient thinking, and with it, the foundation for sustainable education. We don't just invest in children who win tournaments, we invest in the mindset of entire generation. And it's very interesting because chess has a great reputation of intellectual game. And if we have a lot of kids who love to play chess, that's also usually we have a perception of society which value intellectual potential of people. We support the philosophy of smart moves, where children are not just participants, they have the right to act, to influence, to choose. And it doesn't matter where the child lives, in a village, a small town, or a big city, they deserve the chance to learn through chess, just like they do through math or reading. We believe chess should become the second literacy of the 21st century. After learning to read and write, every child should learn to think strategically. We are building a large ecosystem. Freedom Holding Corp operates in 22 countries with with over 11 million users and more than 2 billion in revenue. But the most important thing is not the numbers, it's the priorities. For us, education is not an expense, it's an investment to the future of society, to the future of markets, to the future of nations. And in Kazakhstan, we already invested over 18 million in a school chess, infrastructure, tournaments, teacher support, and integration into the school curriculum. But we understand, if we want to realize the ambitious goals of the ISCF, we need to scale. That's why our focus is on collaboration with the global initiatives like Teach for Kazakhstan and ICPC. Even our commitment to sustainable development naturally aligns with the chess. Order, logic, strategy, principles that matter equally in nature, in business, in education. We are excited by the idea of creating a global exchange platform, a digital network for collaboration where countries, schools, and teams can share case studies, research, mentorship, and joint initiatives. As a result of the summit, we will co-create declarations that outlines shared principles and directions on how to make chess a core part of the global educational agenda, and alongside STEM, financial literacy, and ethics. We believe in cross-sector leadership, where businesses, schools, federations, and children work together on a single platform as an equal partners in a process. Our strategic directions go far beyond running events. We plan to build strong international partnership with the global institutions like UNESCO and the Council of Europe, who will support research, not only on chess, but on education in general. One of our key initiatives will be the creation of Global Knowledge Library, a shared, involving database of proven practices across different cultures and educational systems. These are core areas: consulting and supporting schools and ministers, organizing hands-on workshops and teacher training, helping countries launch and scale tournaments, sharing proven educational resources, creating unified network in every region, and most importantly, fostering international collaboration. We are closely working with FIDE. Together, we are willing to develop joint educational programs, plan to host conferences that promote chess, not only as a game, but as a powerful educational discipline. We aim to localize content so that it aligns with national education systems. We also plan to support the creation of national recognition systems to reward schools that integrate chess in deep and meaningful ways. This is how we intend to build a truly global chess in schools movement in a close partnership with FIDE. We've built ISCF from the ground up with a professional team, full legal registration and international standards. Despite being new, we've already hosted a World Schools Team Championship here right in Episcopal High School near Washington, D.C. Today's summit marks the start of a new tradition, a global platform for dialogue, help alongside future championships. We plan to create an international advisory board to guide our strategy and ensure transparency. Our bold set goal, a digital hub for sharing global best practices in the school chess, connecting countries, schools, and ideas. Over the first year of its work, the Federation has focused on actively studying global best practices. We have held meetings with Denmark, a country with deep experience in school chess, and exchanged ideas with Armenia. We are also integrating insights from Kazakhstan national program into our global vision. We are actively collaborating with the Commission on School Chess. And of course, we did launch the world's truly global school team tournament, one that will unite countries through learning this very championship. This summit, thanks to all of you, will become a platform for continuing that exchange, connecting people, systems, and strategies across borders. This summit is not just about showcasing programs. It's about co-designing the future. We invite every educator, teacher, researcher, and partner to share that working. And what is not? It's really very important to know what actually doesn't work and what works better in different countries, in different culture, in different regions, and how to better use this knowledge and knowledge of what works well and what's fail. Let's talk about how to make chess a part of every child's learning identity, because the most powerful strategies come not from theory, but from shared practice. Let's use this summit to learn from one another and to build our future together. Let's make these smart moves. Thanks to all you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Turlov, for such a vision. That was truly impressive. And if you do all of that you presented, FIDE just sits back and enjoys. No, but indeed,
we will.
We are very happy that we have such a partner in our mission in spreading educational chess worldwide. But coming back from the global vision to you personally, Mr. Timur, you are a father of 7 kids?
Of 6.
Yeah. 6, okay, 7 kids, that's impressive. Tell me, you mentioned that Kazakhstan has already introduced chess in education. So have they, or at least some of them, have experienced already this school chess training, and what is their impression? What is the feedback?
I think we have, in Kazakhstan, we have a very big chess ecosystem. And this, we not just started in school from scratch. So chess is already very popular in the country. And we have a lot of chess facultatives all around. And actually, it was one of the most popular facultative because it's very cheap to organize. It's not require any special sport facilities. It's not require any huge capex. It's just require chess professionals and chess trainers who wants to educate kids. And that's why this game became such popular in Kazakhstan. And a lot of parents still really believe that they should pay attention not just for sport, not just for physical sport, but also for intellectual sport. And that's the part of harmonical development of each kid. With all our professional activities of Federation, with some global events which were hosted in our country, together with FIDE initiatives, with all our corporate tournaments and a lot of different local amateur tournaments. We actually, when we just started and launched this program, with some support of our head of state, with our Minister of Sport, we became, I think, maybe one of the first sport which development plan was adopted by government on a prime minister level. And when we started to implement that at schools, we finally seen a good support from many from most public schools administrations. And we try to use all these digital opportunities to not, of course, we also held local conference. We started to provide some offline trainings to teachers, but then we did a lot of follow-on trainings online. We provided some software which also helped teachers to do that, to be more efficient during their first lessons. And we still provide a lot of follow-on support to let them track this chess progress. And kids is interested because they know that if they will finally succeed in chess, that also could be a good chance to come to different championships, to different competitions, to go to the much bigger town or city, to go to regional center, to go to the capital, to go to some international championships, and for maybe to participate in some events like here in Washington, D.C. And that's also a good motivation for many people, because for many of them, that's the only chance finally to visit the United States, finally to visit the capital of our country. And chess is also becoming kind of social lift. So all these efforts all together, all these activities of National Chess Federation is making each separate effort more efficient at the end of the day, because all the ecosystems pay their efforts to support any chess initiatives. So the chess is popular now in Kazakhstan. These chess players is our kind of rock stars in this moment. And they really became popular, so a lot of media is talking about that. So president of our country is celebrating them with any meaningful achievements, and that's keep prestige on a very, very high level, and that's incentivize, well, I think any school administrators to better pay attention to that.
Thank you, Mr. Turlov. It's always a chicken or egg, yes, where the initiative comes from. But what I also understood that in your plan, which is very comprehensive, and you've been generous in supporting also it with your resources, it was very important to have the political support. So now I guess let's jump to that part about the political support and share the experiences of two distinguished ministers of education who are personalities themselves that are now in the process of reforming their educational systems, aspiring to make the best educational systems in the world. And we start with Costa Rica, with Minister of Public Education, Mr. Rojas Fernández. Mr. Minister, Costa Rica's literacy rate is extremely high. It exceeds 97%. But I also understand that still there are some challenges in improving learning outcomes and student engagement. How do you see where chess can play the role, and can it offer new pathways for public school revitalization? And I also know that back in 2022, there was a declaration made that chess is of national importance, and it is to be taught in the Costa and integrated in the Costa Rica educational system. So please share your perspective and tell us how practical and how useful chess can be in your educational system.
Thanks, Dana. I'm sorry, my English is no good. We did translate with Mauricio Arias from the Costa Rica too.
Hello.
Okay?
Okay, I'll do my best to help, so I'm ready. You tell me, sir.
Thank you. Primero, agradecer a Timur, al señor Arcadi, a Dana por la invitación y por habernos hecho sentir como en casa.
First, I want to thank Timur, Arcadi, Dana for the invitation and to make us feel like as if we were at home.
La respuesta es muy sencilla. A partir de la enseñanza del ajedrez en las escuelas públicas de Costa Rica, se han bajado los límites de agresividad en los estudiantes. El bullying ha bajado prácticamente casi a nada en los pilotos donde se ha desarrollado. Las calificaciones en materias como matemática y ciencias han subido, y la colaboración con el tema disciplinario con todo el resto del sistema escolar, pues ha sido mejorado casi en un 90%. Entonces, definitivamente, mi presencia acá no es casualidad, mi presencia acá es desde el Ministerio de Deporte, entender que algo pasa con el ajedrez, que definitivamente no solo puede ayudar en la parte competitiva, sino en la parte social y cognitiva del desarrollo de los niños.
Okay, that's a lot. Let me see. So first, with the use of chess in the schools in Costa Rica, in the pilot programs where we use it, aggressions went down, bullying went down, the grades in maths and science went up, and in around 80% of ¿cuál fue el 90%? Perdón. El 90%. Yeah, and bullying and aggression went down around 80% in the pilot programs where schools where we use the program to measure how it was progressing.
Let's see.
Estaba pensando en el Ministerio de Educación, pero obviamente es de eso.
Quisiera ser corto para, entre la traducción y mis respuestas, poder lograr el tiempo adecuado y no abusar del tiempo.
He wants to be sure because between what he says and my translation, it could take longer than what we expected to take. But okay.
Importante, Costa Rica está entendiendo que el programa de desarrollo del ajedrez en las escuelas necesita un desarrollo súper importante, porque hemos logrado efectivamente en las escuelas públicas donde hemos llevado el ajedrez como una opción de enseñanza, un desarrollo diferente que en el resto del país.
Costa Rica is understanding that they need to put more effort in the chess in the schools, because in the public schools where it was used, we could see the impact that it has compared to the schools where it was not being executed in the country.
Ok, vamos a entender, para que todos entendamos muy claramente, en Costa Rica el ajedrez se desarrolla tanto en la parte competitiva como en las escuelas. El trabajo se hace entre el ICODER, que es el Instituto del Deporte, la Federación de Ajedrez y el Ministerio de Educación Pública.
In Costa Rica we have 3 organizations involved in pushing chess in the school. One is the Federation, the Chess Federation. The other one is the Ministry of Education. And the other one is an organization called ICODER that is the one that manages the sports in the whole country. They are working together to do this push for chess in the schools.
Buscando impactar verdaderamente y hacer un cambio, en el año 2022 se creó una ley específica para lograr que la enseñanza del ajedrez pudiera ser verdaderamente posible en las escuelas públicas. Esto es importante, en las escuelas públicas. A partir de ahí, entonces, se declaró el ajedrez como de interés público en la educación, se firmó un convenio entre la Federación de Ajedrez y el Ministerio de Educación Pública, se comenzaron con implementar paulatinamente algunas capacitaciones y algunas enseñanzas para los posibles maestros que pudieran enseñar ajedrez, y se incluyó el ajedrez dentro de la currícula o dentro de las materias que podrían desarrollar dentro de las clases de educación física.
Okay, so in 2022 in Costa Rica, it was allowed to promote chess in the schools. Once that happened, a change of events also occurred. First, the Chess Federation and the Ministry of Education, they signed an agreement of cooperation. So this law that tries to push chess in the schools could move forward. Also, the training they start with a program for training for the teachers in the schools. So we will have the necessary people, teachers, to to move the program forward in the pilot schools. And I think that's it.
Ok. La forma de organización de este proyecto parte con el ICODER como fuente de financiamiento y fuente coordinadora, la Federación de Ajedrez de Costa Rica, que es la que genera las comisiones, y el Ministerio de Educación Pública, que es el que recibe la formación que viene de la Federación de Ajedrez y el financiamiento y asesoramiento por parte del ajedrez. Por eso es importante estar aquí hoy para nosotros, para entender de qué forma debemos modificar este comportamiento para lograr un mejor resultado.
Okay. The way that it works now, we have the Costa Rican Institute of Sports, and this is the one that actually gives the budget to the Chess Federation. And the Chess Federation, with their different commissions, work together with the Ministry of Education so they can push these programs forward. One of the key points for the minister to come here is to figure out, to learn how could we change this structure so we can improve it in the future and accelerate the progress of the program.
A partir de esto, la formación del personal del Ministerio de Educación Pública es fundamental para formar árbitros y entrenadores. Apoyar también en los juegos estudiantiles, que es la parte competitiva a través de las cuales las escuelas públicas de Costa Rica se relacionan entre sí para lograr en los diferentes deportes, y ahora más que nunca el ajedrez, lograr una interacción adecuada. Y por último, facilitar la entrega de material a todas las escuelas públicas de Costa Rica. Costa Rica es un país pequeño, sin embargo, por sus características geográficas, requiere de algún esfuerzo para lograr entregar material a todas las escuelas públicas del país.
Okay, so this work together between the Chess Federation, the Institute of Sports, and the Ministry of Education help us to achieve these 3 points. The training of the teachers, whether they work as teachers of chess or arbiters for the tournaments that they organize. Also the training for the teachers of physical education, the PI, so they can work helping in the training of the students. Also, we have this huge program of Scholastic chess in the country where all the public schools can participate with their students that play chess. And finally, there is a little issue with Costa Rica. We are a very small country, but the geography is very particular. So it's not easy to deliver the chessboards and materials for the schools, and that is a work that needs a high coordination between institutions.
El trabajo actual que se hace entre la Federación de Ajedrez, el Instituto de Deportes y el Ministerio de Educación ha logrado impactar alrededor de 70 instituciones del país a lo largo de ella. Hemos utilizado contactos como los profesores de educación física. Algo interesante, se han apuntado a colaborar los profesores de matemáticas y algunos directores y hasta padres de familia que han querido colaborar con este proyecto.
Okay, so this work together between the 3 institutions have the result of working at this moment with 70 different schools, public schools in the country. Also, we work with teachers of PE and with teachers of math and physics. Finally, something curious happened, because it's not only the teachers that are giving the instruction. Some of the parents has got involved, also some of the principals of the schools, and even some students. And something that I want to mention, the Chess Federation used to start a program to involve students, and they will give them the training so they can help with the coaching of our students. That just happened, so probably it's not here.
En cuanto al tema de cómo hemos realizado la capacitación o cómo se ha realizado a partir de la federación, se diseñó un programa estandarizado para la formación de los profesores y los instructores. Esta formación enlaza adecuadamente la formación de los entrenadores de ajedrez. Las personas capacitadas han entendido que son representantes o embajadores del ajedrez prácticamente de una forma inmediata, lo han acogido y lo han aceptado, y se ha llegado a más de 300 profesores de educación física u otros profesores que de alguna forma se han logrado capacitar hasta este momento.
Okay, so with the help of the Chess Federation, a program of training for the teachers in the schools was created. This program has reached at the moment more than 300 teachers, and they have at least 40 hours of training. And with this training, we hope that the teachers can become ambassadors of the sport immediately.
Es un pequeño mapa de Costa Rica. Los puntitos azules y verdes es donde hay centros educativos públicos en Costa Rica. La enseñanza o la educación en Costa Rica es gratuita y obligatoria. Tenemos 4.750 centros educativos, de los cuales a hoy únicamente hemos logrado alcanzar con la enseñanza del ajedrez en primaria o con al menos alguna capacitación en 300. Entonces, la comparación para que ustedes tengan conciencia de lo que y nosotros también de lo que nos hace falta trabajar es importante.
In terms of public schools, in Costa Rica we have 4,750 schools. Of those, we already reached around 300 with chess in the school. And this map can show you the picture of the schools that we have in the country. And that is the challenge that we have, to reach all these schools so we can expand chess to all of them.
Algunos números importantes de qué ha sucedido en Costa Rica con el ajedrez en las escuelas y colegios a partir de comenzar el programa de enseñanza del ajedrez. En el año 2023, 5,000 y resto de estudiantes que practicaban el ajedrez. Año 2024, 8,000 y un poquito más. Y para este año ya llevamos aproximadamente 21,841, no solo practicando o aprendiendo, sino también de alguna forma compartiendo algún tipo de competencia en los Juegos Estudiantiles de Costa Rica en ajedrez.
Well, we told you about the Scholastic tournaments that we have in Costa Rica, and this is the growth that we have in the last 3 years. So in 2023, you can see more than 5,000 students. Then we moved to 8,000 in 2024, and this year it was a huge jump, going from 8,500 to almost 2,200 students.
El impacto que esto ha tenido definitivamente en la práctica del ajedrez en edades entre los 14 y 16 años, lo vemos también reflejado en lo que nosotros llamamos Juegos Deportivos Nacionales, que es la competencia deportiva que vemos después de los niños de primaria. Hemos pasado en el año 2021 de la participación en ajedrez de 19 cantones a 41 en el año 2025. Y la cantidad de atletas en el año 2021 que practicaban en esas edades ajedrez eran de 458 y hoy en el 2025 tenemos 947.
Okay, let me explain this a little bit because I think it will be easier doing it this way. So in Costa Rica we have this event called Juegos Estudiantiles and Juegos Deportivos Nacionales. And that is not an scholastic event. That is a sport event where the different regions of the country participate. So in the first part, you can see the increase on the regions that were participating in chess. We went from 19 in 2021 to 29 to 41. And that actually is most of the country in this moment. And then also you can see the increase in the amount of kids that start competing in chess, going from 458 all the way to almost 1,000 in 2025.
Como pudieron ver, nosotros hemos detectado en la enseñanza del ajedrez en la escuela primaria, como le decía el señor Timur, una ventaja de herramientas para que los niños enfrenten su vida. A partir de ahí, y viendo que el ajedrez es acogido por los niños, creemos sumamente importante no solo reforzar este programa, sino otros tipos de programas o impactos que causa el ajedrez en Costa Rica.
As Timur said, chess provides the kids with a series of tools, and that gives us conviction that we should keep pushing chess to the children in Costa Rica.
Por eso es sumamente importante para nosotros seguir visitando estos espacios y aprendiendo de las personas que han avanzado un poquito más para poder lograr que en Costa Rica el ajedrez sea un elemento que impacte verdaderamente no solo la parte deportiva, sino la parte social del país.
And that is why for us it's important to come to events like this so we can learn from the experience that you have here and keep pushing in Costa Rica so we can have a bigger impact in chess in the schools.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, and indeed a very hands-on and practical approach in getting things done. You have a goal and you do very practical steps. Mr. Minister, I would like to use this opportunity and ask for your advocacy, because I feel that you are a true believer in educational chess. So what would be a very short but impressive argument that you would use in convincing the Minister of Education of Barbados to introduce chess in their curriculum?
Le diría, no lo dude, comience de una vez si no lo ha hecho, porque definitivamente los números comienzan a cambiar prácticamente a muy corto tiempo. Entonces es importante iniciarlo de inmediato para lograr causar un efecto positivo en los niños que son el futuro de este mundo.
Don't hesitate, start doing it right now, because the numbers show that this works. The sooner you do it, the faster you will start seeing results.
Thank you. Thank you. That was impressive. So now we would like to switch to Barbados and give the floor to Honorable Minister Chad Blackman, who is the Minister of Educational Transformation. And he's representing a government that's really rethinking its education system from the ground up. And I know that his staff is very dedicated. Yesterday we had a talk, and your colleagues said that they and you, under your leadership, you will make the best education system in the world. So please share your vision. What unconventional tools are you considering for this change? And how, and if you see chess in this picture, and possibly, what do you expect from this summit as well to take home in your hearts, in your heads, and in your pockets?
Thank you very much. Firstly, let me say how happy I am, as well as my delegation, to be here for this conference. This morning's theme and the conference itself is very timely, particularly for us in Barbados. And why am I saying this? We've had an education system that has worked well for us as a country, particularly since independence in 1966. Our people are educated, a high literacy rate, almost 100%. But that has taken us very far and no further. And now at the time, the government has determined, led by our Prime Minister Molly, that in order for Barbados to become even more competitive and to provide a quality of life for our people, and to do that all within the perspective of a changing global reality, which is changing incredibly fast, continue to do so. We must give our citizens the tools that are necessary to become competitive, confident, resilient, and global thinkers in that environment. And therefore, at the heart of our education system, we've determined, yes, as you rightly said, to be the #1 education system in the world within 7 years. That's the timeline that we've given ourselves. But in so doing, it's not just to be #1 for being #1's sake. It's really about ensuring that our citizens, as I said, can be prepared for the world of business and the world of work. But in order to do that, a number of things have to happen. We've set out on the journey of transforming our education sector in a number of areas. One, how teachers teach our children, the pedagogy. Secondly, the infrastructure in where teaching takes place. Because the truth is, this facility here, Episcopal High School, I must tell you, to my mind, is one that must be a replica, not necessarily in terms of the layout, but in terms of the feel and the access for our students and our teachers and persons doing business. It must be replicated around the world for education. Because why? If you're going to bring out the best in our students, the infrastructure has to be fit for purpose. And that is one of the things that the country is now doing. But to bring it closer to what we're talking about this morning in terms of chess, the curriculum reform is going to be a key component in that transformation, preparing our citizens for the future. And we've determined that we have to do innovative things that are uniquely different, but in our reality, to make sure that we can prepare our students. So chess, given its components of critical thinking, resilience, thinking long-term and the long game, we see it an advantage that we can give our students and our population to become globally competitive in the long term. For, if I can say, a partir de esta conferencia, vamos a comenzar con el chess en los colegios en Barbados. To my minister colleague, based on what I said, coming from this conference, and we have an education officer who is going to be leading on that, and our senior education officer who will ensure that we're driving it, that from this conference, we're going to ensure that chess is going to be not just a curriculum, extracurricular activity, which it now is in a number of schools, but it's really going to be at the center of what we do in Barbados' educational development. Early childhood education is one of the things that we're about to sign off on and ramp up in the country. As the science has shown, children between the ages of 3 and 5, thereabouts, that is when they're most receptive to all the things that they will later go on in life to learn and to master. And therefore, part of what we're going to do is to make sure that all schools at that level can have the access to chess and the exposure of chess as a discipline. Because once you can master that, the different areas of your life will follow suit. So whether you want to be a creative, a writer, a lawyer, a musician, it doesn't matter. Those skill sets that you learn at the onset in chess must now be a tool to help you to be able to develop those things going forward. And therefore, moving it from the periphery of the educational process into the mainstream must now be part and parcel of what we do in Barbados, and certainly, in my view, to the Caribbean. When you look at the Caribbean as a region, we've had a number of challenges over the years that now forces us to rethink how the education of that region can now be futuristic, resilient, as I said, but equally, what is not just the future of education, what is education of the future? And to my mind, education of the future requires us to be bold enough to use unconventional ways to allow our children who grow up to become citizens of our countries to have all of the elements of what chess provides, that discipline, learning to master your mistakes. And why am I saying this? Oftentimes, we teach in schools, or we teach in life really, that in order for you to succeed, you must win, 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 win. And that is not correct. Some of the biggest and best companies are there because their CEOs or their chairmen before have gone through businesses that were not successful. And because of the quote-unquote failure that they've endured before, they're now better positioned to position those companies to be the best that they are today. And a lot of those life lessons, therefore, are embedded in the game of chess. But it's not just about the education system, and Timur, you were absolutely right when you said this. It has to be an ecosystem of the country. We have our national federation here from Barbados, and I can tell you the intention is for the government to also partner with them formally so as to ensure that the ecosystem in the country promotes a culture of chess and chess for education, young and old, so that our country, therefore, is rallying around the idea that chess is a tool for national development, not just about schools, but national development. And once you can tap into that shift in perspective, you're going to start to significant gains going forward in the transition of moving from highly successful to being successful on a long-term basis and in a sustainable way as a country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. I think one thing that especially resonated from your speech was that getting far with your education system is not enough. You want to get further. And I think you pleased a lot of people here telling that heard that you are ready to put chess as one of the unconventional tools in the center of this change. But I wanted to ask you a little provocative question as well. You quite often also twice today heard that chess is very cheap. So would it be an argument for you as a minister to really introduce it in education because it's cheap?
Let's put it this way. That is a benefit in terms of the fact that, yes, having a board and the pieces isn't that costly to put it into schools. But it's not just because it's relatively accessible in terms of cost. I think the microphone going in and out here. If I can perhaps have another one. Thank you. Sure. So the issue, I think that's a fringe benefit. But for us, it's not just about the costs, because part of the government's commitment is that we will spare no effort and resources to ensure that our citizens have the best in going forward. That's one. And the second tier of that, as I said it before, chess really, to my mind, provides a unique opportunity for children, irrespective of class, part of the economic background they're from or their parents are from. It allows for them to have an equal opportunity, a greater chance of success in life. And one of the things that I will be saying to the country upon my return is that what we're trying to do with chess is to give our children and our citizens a global head start in life, underscored by the rudiments that the ecosystem of chess providing.
Thank you very much. So cost efficiency and accessibility, that's probably the key
Absolutely.
words, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And I think you are at a very good starting point, because all your people, from the very top yourself to the lower levels, federation, your officers, they are very dedicated and goal-oriented. That's, I think, the key element. Thank you so much. Our next guest has built one of the most prestigious global ecosystems for academic competition and problem solving, which is International Collegiate Programming Contest. Meet Dr. William Pocher, the Executive Director of the ICPC. Hello, you're a little bit far from me, but I hope you can hear and see me. The OCD lists computational thinking, adaptability, and structured problem solving among the most in-demand global skills. And here I would like to hear your perspective on how can chess work in correlation with programming and in reinforce each other in cultivating these attributes. And also, please share, this is a long-living and sustainable organization and structure and project that you have created that consists of many stakeholders and that engage many stakeholders, universities, students, volunteers, sponsors. So how do you manage to deal with them, to balance the interests of all of them and keep their interests for such a long time? So this is, I think, one of the valuable things that you could share with our auditory who try to create sustainable systems.
Well, thank you. 50 years ago, when I first started teaching...
Sir, could you please use the microphone still for our online audience?
We didn't
as well.
have microphones. But I did have 75 students in a room about this size, so we learned to breath exercises so that people could hear us. But what I found out in teaching was that far more important than speaking is listening. And to learn to listen is an art in and of itself. And one of the things that happens when you learn how to play games with each other, you become more observant. And students who learn how to play chess are observant of process and decision-making at a very high level. Now, I was at, I guess, the 50th anniversary of ENIAC a number of years ago, and there was quite a chess match between one of the world's greatest chess players. And Deep Blue that was developed by some of my friends. And the outcome of it was tie, and then finally the machine won.
So was it 1997? I guess so.
1997, okay, that was the year. So I talked my friends into flying Deep Blue to Shanghai in 2005, which turned out to be quite a challenge. You know, I think it'd be harder now. And that was so that the ICPC world finalists could play games of chess with Deep Blue. And a number of them tied. One of the coaches beat Deep Blue. Now, the thing to realize is that life is not man versus machine. We make them. Artificial means skill that has been made. They're extensions of us. I promise you that if we formed a chess league right now with computer systems like Deep Blue, we'd have to choose between that and air conditioning in the world. There's nothing more magnificent in terms of reasoning than human beings, but they require training. And my hat's off to you all, because I know what it takes to build a sport. And for it to be a team sport, not only do they learn the art of working together, but they learn the art of learning how to be better together. Because in golf and music and all athletics, you get better by competing with others who are better at it than you. And the purpose of it is growth, and to see our educational systems engaged in novel education. I might mention that all my grandkids play chess.
Bravo.
All right? Okay. All right. Well, okay. Except for Harris, but he's 6 months old. Okay. So all of the from 5 and above play chess. And it never actually occurred to me to ask the question of the world's finest future mission-critical systems developers at the ICPC whether they played chess or not. I'm going to ask. I did ask one time when we were in Stockholm. And in Stockholm, we had every venue that was ever used for Nobel Prizes. Wasn't that cool? Why? Because we were trying to send a message to those kids and those coaches that their lives make a difference in other people's lives. They build the future. And education is about helping each generation build on our strengths and be aware of our frailties. And that's how life gives life to life. And that's been going on for at least 1,000 years. I'm not quite sure about the history beforehand. I wasn't a history major. So what happened? Well, we had a technical glitch. That doesn't bother me. I'm a computer scientist. If it doesn't work, it's job security. A plumber, you know. But we had a glitch, and I had a little bit of time, and I looked out at that crowd coming from all over the world, different educational systems. Some specialize very early, so they don't really have a chance, if they have talent in one area, to find out what they can do. How many of you played an instrument, sang in a chorus? How many of them you have a music background? How about here? How many have a music background? Okay. 75% of the arms went up. Of course, a process. 4-part harmony, of course. But you have to learn about decision-making, and you need to engage it. It needs to become a part of you, and it needs to become a part of you when you're a child. You know, in Texas, I'd say howdy, right? Dobro Poshalovitz in St. Petersburg, right? And it means the same thing, okay? It's a welcome to be part of this wonderful world. And when I looked at the number of schools in Costa Rica, I wonder how many schools there were in the entire British Empire in 1650. Do we have the slightest idea what we're doing when we are engaging the minds, you see, and all of the mind, not just the semantic part, but the episodic part, the part that has feeling and decides what's valuable and what's appropriate response, and understands how to work in healthy boundaries, okay? That's what it's about. You guys are doing that, and congratulations. Oh, I got some slides. Let me go through them real quick, okay, so you can see them. Oh, do I press this button right here?
In your hands, sir, in your hands.
Oh, okay. All right, so here's something about the International Collegiate Programming Contest. There are a lot of them, competitions every year, 3 tiers. It's a competition of the universities of the world, because the universities provide an important infrastructure for sustaining education. But understand, we can't do anything unless we have talent coming in. It's public education feeds that. Okay, moms and dads spending time with their children feeding that. And when we value the development of children's reasoning skills, social skills, and emotional skills through the process of sports, okay, we're making a difference. Now, if you'll notice, it's a team sport. Why? Because everything good that I've ever known about in mission-critical development of systems is done by teams. Now, you can go on Facebook and see the picture of this one person who is responsible for everything. Okay, if you can't recognize propaganda by now, I'm sorry. But that's not necessarily negatively intentional. It's just trying to convince people that they can do things, but good gracious. Oh, Facebook. Right, the first chief technology officer of Facebook was a world finalist, silver medalist. Huh? And he became he created Quora, because he wanted people to have the opportunity to talk together and share ideas. And he's a member of the board of OpenAI. He's a good guy, all right? Yeah, so almost everything that you see in Google, first chief technology officer and only employee, past world champion, chief technology officer of OpenAI, chief scientist, double gold medalist, right? So when we talk about sports opens up self-belief. And there are 3 dimensions to development. What you can do for others, what you can do with others for others, and who knows you can do things for others. So shining the spotlight on young talent not only helps them now, it helps for investment. You know, it's interesting about freedom, and thank you. But freedom isn't free. It requires investment of all sorts, in all ways, to let life blossom on this wonderful planet that we have. But anyway, do you see that bringing people together? We're together. It's interesting, this morning I was in Uzbekistan for 30 minutes. Well, okay, my hat was not in Uzbekistan, but I was connected on Zoom, okay, to a meeting that we're having with our friends in Baku. And my mind was there. So my physics professor that told me that I couldn't be in two places at the same time didn't live in this world. Holy cow. So our kids are also going to have to manage an environment that is much richer than the environment that we inherited and those inherited before us. Go to Versailles sometime. You know, that's a pretty fancy house, right? Didn't have air conditioning, right? Didn't have central heating, had pretty good. Didn't have the powder room so that your nose wasn't shiny, so like almost all of us are wealthier than the royalty that preceded us. But perceiving wealth is really important. And when we see the wealth we can have in our relationships with each other, oh my. DNA tells us we have 8 billion cousins. Wow. Oh, 2 minutes left. Let me get through this real quick. Can I press that button? I'm an old college professor, so let me get that button just so you can see the slides. Okay. Community, technology, win-win. Had, 73,000 students, 12,000 coaches, all volunteers, 10,000 volunteers, 3,500 universities, a bunch of countries all over the world, right? And stakeholders, our impact there, yeah, it's sort of uniformly distributed out there. And all of this happened because we built a community within the institutions. We do have support institutions. The ICPC Foundation is. Where there's a need, we build an institution, but mainly we make sure we have community working for us. Principle of locality. Make sure that the decisions and the work are done together as closely to where the need is. And there we have some other numbers. Oh, we did a survey, and I just grabbed 30,000 of our alumni out. We have 450,000 in the world, and every company that you could ever imagine has an ICPC plus level of participation at the highest level. Now, plus means they either competed in the ICPC or they were their friends in college. So notice the 1,500 founders just in that sample there and what they do. Attorneys, researchers, officers. There's one comedian, but anyway. And what we see is there's this cycle of opportunity. The industry that exists today that these people and their friends built generates $14 trillion of our economy every year. And part of that economy has produced the greatest availability of resources to learn how to play chess you have ever seen. They are not free, they just don't cost you anything because you're special. Right? And so when you're tapping into that so that every kid, no matter where they are, in fact, 2,000 more schools in Kazakhstan connected up by Starlink, so they can learn that too. And if you want to visit, well, anyway, here, let me hit that button again, okay? There's a bunch of stuff. Competition, okay, this is the important thing. All right, we have a motto. Equitas actionem regula. It's at least 600 years old. Okay? And what does it say? Let fair play govern our actions. How are we going to even communicate that idea if kids don't experience fair play? And part of that is sometimes you're not fair. okay? But you fix it. And in there, we have a mission. You could read it on the internet. And we have something way more important, a purpose. And that's what we want to build in the lives of every child, every community, every family. Purpose. It is the source of freedom. And it is not free. It is the outcome of an investment. And I even put in who we are. We have healthy boundaries. If what we're talking about isn't part of our goals, we just stop talking about it. And organization, promote regional integrity. That's what you're doing. Provide global coordination. Policy, keep it simple. Serve, don't rule. Never have the same problem for the same reason. That's the don't be crazy. It's very popular, but not in our community. And then the most important thing, we're principle-based. We're not rules-based. We have rules for the events, but we're principle-based. And number one is we put people first. We practice goodwill. We follow the golden rule. We extend unconditional affection because our model is come to grandma's house. Now, you have to compete for attention, sorry. But affection, no. As needed, solve the problems that we can, resolve the issues that we must, and leave the rest for our 8 billion cousins who can all solve problems better if we're not in their meddling with their business. And then, my favorite, grow strong by resolving conflicts. Conflicts should never separate you. They're part of the game. And you embrace them and you figure out how to solve them together, and that builds trust. And trust and purpose are two of the critical ingredients that our next generation needs to give life to life. That's it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pochert. If I understand correctly, the secret element is to create a community that people, organizations feel honored to belong to because it's based on trust and purpose. So and that can be replicated in chess as well. Thank you so much. So now we go back to Europe, to Norway particularly, that has not only produced a top chess talent. Magnus Carlsen probably has become the face of Norway chess, but that's not the only thing that characterizes Norway chess. It does invest a lot of the systems that bring chess and play into everyday education. And here, Steinar, Sæthre, from the Savings Bank Foundation, DNB, is behind many of these youth initiatives. Steinar, your foundation supports chess, esports, and coding in schools. So please share with us what have you seen as the most effective approaches to engaging young people through play, and how do you ensure these programs reach across social divides?
Well, to start off, one way for us to ensure that what we support is what is most suited for schools is to look at what is actually accepted by schools. We spend quite a bit of time talking to school administrators who, there was one school administrator who said to me a couple of months ago that I spend so much of my time politely refusing people who want to come into schools and provide services, who want to talk, who want to have their agenda on the curriculum or in extracurricular activities or in any form kind of contribute and find their way into schools. And there's just no capacity for all of them. Some of them are of very limited use or at worst even damageful to schools. But what we see over time is that the type of activities that are very, very often accepted and even actively encouraged by the schools are the kind of mental activities like chess, like the current game bridge, esports, etc., coding, programming. And I think that has to do with, Timur was talking about a little bit earlier, our decreased attention spans. I think that's a very central point in why those activities are so commonly accepted nowadays and desired. We have such short attention spans that any kind of activity that will allow students to sit down and just fully immerse themselves in some form of activity where you're just focusing on this for a longer period of time is very, very useful for our educational institutions. We are getting reports now even from literature studies at universities that new students are having problems reading an entire book. We're losing that kind of skill that used to be so normal, but we're losing it probably because of digital media. And
by the way, thank you all for being patient and listening carefully to such a long panel.
And so, I mean, I'm no different from any other guy. I sit on the subway, I'm on my phone like the rest of us do, but we saw some numbers a couple of weeks ago that were really encouraging in Norway. Chess.com released numbers, the number of users they had from each individual country in the world. And Norway has a population of about 5.5 million, and Chess.com had 1.4 million Norwegian accounts, meaning that probably 25% of the population, and that includes infants and all age groups, about 25% of the population now has a Chess.com account. And when we look to our neighbors, when we look to Sweden, when we look to Denmark, they were also having really good numbers, that should be said. But we probably had about, I think, 500,000 more users than Denmark, and I think that has something to do also, not just with school chess and those kind of programs, even though they are probably very beneficial here too. You can't underestimate the impact that Magnus has had on our younger population. It's been so, I think it's been so important for chess getting that national attention and that mainstream spotlight that actually has been drawn to it. So, but generally speaking, we look very closely at what schools actually want when we decide what we want to fund, and those kinds of activities that I've talked about now are very easily among the most requested. So that's that's a badge of quality for us, like we typically say.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. And last but not least, a neighboring country, our final speaker, has trained thousands of teachers. And is it thousands, yes? And built,
I suppose so.
Yeah, one of Europe's most effective school ecosystems in Denmark. Mikkel Norgaard, chess educator and program leader from Denmark, combines research, policy, and real classroom implementation, making chess education not just possible, but as we learned also in private discussions, very, very powerful. Mikkel, please share with us your perspective. How do we ensure that chess becomes more than just a niche extracurricular activity and is fully integrated in the formal education systems and in post-school activities? So how can you embed it so deeply in the educational system? And also I'd like you to share, because you presented yourself as a private organization that is working in parallel to National Federation, and that has nothing to do with policy makers so much. So what can actually and what should these public institutions and authorities like national federations and ministries do? Is it just let it go and not to disturb the private initiatives, or there's something that you would advise them really to actively engage into to facilitate the process of spreading chess as an educational tool?
Thank you, Dana. Well, let me start where you started off by the problem of ensuring that chess and educational chess remains within the scope and within the center of our attention when we build our educational systems. We've heard a few times during the panel that chess is cheap. It's incredibly important to stress that it's also valuable. Might be cheap, but still valuable.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear that.
And the consequence of this is that, or at least the consequence that we're taking in Denmark, is that we need to build real products that real people want to pay real money for. That is at the center of everything we do. And we do work together with the government, and we are partially funded by the state budget in Denmark. But what we do is we sell to schools programs, teaching materials, digital solutions that help teachers, help kids build 21st century skills.
So you would develop very practical tools, materials, programs, instruments for the teachers, yes, to use.
And in particular programs that makes the average, not particularly chess-interested teacher able to teach chess at a reasonable level, ensuring that all the qualities of the game benefit the kids in the classroom. So they do become better thinkers, they do become better decision makers, and they do concentrate more. But the teacher might not ever set foot in a chess club or play competitively. She's just really, really, really engaged in providing these thinking tools. That is what leads us and what guides us in our programs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you very much. And share some secret also with the audience. I understand that you yourself and your team, you're not chess players. How does it work? Because I think that the chess players would think that, in order to spread educational chess, you need to understand what the game is about. So how does it work? Not playing chess yourself, you still use it as a tool and you advocate for it, you prepare materials, you spread it.
Well, let me let you in on a slightly dirty secret. I have about 60,000 bullet games on chess.com, so it's not entirely true that I'm not a chess player, but I don't play competitively anymore, and when I did, I was quite average, below average, really. Most of the teachers that we hire are pretty bad at chess, and sometimes we need to remind them of the castling rules and the value of the pieces, but they're incredibly gifted teachers, and that is what matters. Where we compensated for their lack of chess skills is through tech, to our platform Gambit, which enables them to teach chess at a high level, using the Gambit platform as a means of preparation, and it aids them in the classroom via a big screen, whereas all the work the kids do is with ordinary chess boards. So tech has helped us infuse this old analogous activity and become a means of 21st century skills training.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. We've heard so many different perspectives. And before we close this session, first of all, thank you very much. It was very interesting. I would like to play a little blitz game. So please think now and give one word that gives the association to you with educational chess. Mikkel, we start with you. Real quick.
Decision making.
Next. Concentration.
Mentoring.
Mentoring.
Resilience.
Resilience.
Strategy.
Strategy.
Strong.
Strong. Thank you so much. That was very impressive. We've heard today from champions of educational chess and champions of change. You all indeed are such. And one thing is clear, chess in education is not about producing grandmasters. It is about producing minds that can think ahead, solve problems, and lead with empathy. That's the future leader, who is smart and also empathetical. Imagine if every child in every corner of the world, from Oslo to New Zealand, had the opportunity to learn using chess as a game in their everyday process. I do believe that, again, I would use chess as a demonstration. In chess, time is the factor. So there is no such alternative as doing nothing, as not making the move, because the time ticks, and that could cost you a game. And I believe that in improving, in enhancing education systems, there's also the same situation. Doing nothing is not an alternative. The time is ticking. So it's all in our hands to make the smart moves, to make the moves that matter. And I hope that this very summit, this very format here will be inspirational and will motivate us all for real actions ahead. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for your thoughtful